So probably like I don't know, I was maybe 14 or 15 years old. I mean, this is years ago, obviously. The little town where I grew up, there was a nightclub there called the Attic, and the Attic had all these rock bands that would come through town, and they had this really nice stage, and they had this just monstrous PA system in there. And I mean, they were just kind of known for this PA system. It was just speakers everywhere. It was like a wall of sound kind of thing. And but anyway, the owner, his name was Joe Tronto, and I actually still know Joe, and doesn't have the Attic anymore, but Joe had it for years. And so anyway, I knew some people that worked there. I was like 14, 15, and always want to see the bands that played there. And I was at that point where I was just starting to kind of discover bands that I was into, and you know, really kind of putting two and two together and kind of figuring out, you know, what bands I liked and that kind of thing. I was really into metal and at the time, and I was starting to kind of broaden my horizons, some of the 70s and 80s punk bands. But anyway, I found out the Ramones were coming. I was like, oh my God, I'd love to see the Ramones, man. It'd be so awesome, you know. And you know, it's before the internet, so you couldn't just pull up YouTube and just see old clips of the Ramones. You had to go see them live, you know. And so I go down to the Attic and I see Joe, and I don't know how I caught him. Maybe I can't remember now. Maybe I was standing outside or something, like stalking him, waiting for him to come to work or something. But anyway, he comes up, and I might have been down there skateboarding around or something, and I told him who I was, and I said, you know, man, I really love to see some of these bands coming in, you know, but you had to be, I think at the time you had to be 18, you know, to get into the club, maybe 21. And he says, well, you know, we need some local help to unload the truck and move all their gear in. I was like, okay, yeah, man, I'll do anything. So he says, come back the next day, and I go down there. When I get there, the Ramones semi truck, you know, they had this one big semi, and it was backed up in the alleyway. So the entrance into the Attic was in an alleyway. There's this big semi truck there, and the truck driver gets out, and the guy had like a bullet hole or something through his face, and I'm like, "The hell is that bullet hole all about?" You know, and but he turned out he had been with him forever, and so he's kind of like their roadie slash tour manager slash stage manager slash sound guy. I mean, he kind of did everything, you know. And so he opens up the door, and, you know, the Attic's got this huge PA anyway. When he opens up the back of the semi-truck, there's just equipment like you couldn't believe. This truck is just packed from the bottom to the top, all the way to the back. So we start getting out these huge PA, you know, speakers that go in the front of the house. They're like 800,000 pounds a piece, and we get them out, and we get them in there. So we spent the whole day setting it up, and then they said, you know, what do you like? And I said, drums, you know, and they said, oh, good, you can set up Marky's drum set. I was like, oh, my God. I couldn't believe it, you know. So I go in, and he had this black pearl drum set and these, you know, huge Peisty cymbals. And they said, you got to clean it. And the drum set looked brand new. And I was like, clean it? You know, what do we have to clean it for? And then they had all these stage lights, and they're bringing in lights and bringing in stage lights and that sort of thing. So the drum set looked, I mean, brand new. And they set this thing up, and so I get in there, and it's like this pearl drum set. It's got these like crazy, you know, like really nice Peisty cymbals, you know. I'm thinking, what am I cleaning? You know, I mean, this drum set is like brand new. They clean it before and after every show, and so I'm up there, man. I'm cleaning the drum set and getting it all set, helping the guy get it all set up, you know. And at the time, I really wasn't, you know, like I was just kind of starting out playing some drums and kind of messing around. So anyway, getting the stage set up, and they got lights, and man, they brought an arena's worth of stuff into a nightclub, you know, and set it all up. And the band's not there yet. The tour bus had gotten there, but, you know, the Ramones are still out, you know, on the tour bus, and they're not there. And so that afternoon, like, I leave, and I think Joe, the owner, he says, you know, come back if you want to see the show tonight. Come back. I'll let you in. You can watch the show. But do not let me catch you drinking in here. You know, do not drink a beer in this place. I was like 14 or 15. He says, if you do, you'll never step foot back in here again. It's not a problem, you know. So I leave, go home, come back, you know, that night, and it was one of the worst thunderstorms you could ever imagine. And it's you know, it's like June or July. It's really hot outside, kind of middle of the summer kind of thing. This terrible storm blows up. I mean, the lightning is hitting, and we're inside this club, and it's a brick building. You can hear it outside. You hear it over the music playing, and you know, we were just really thinking, man, is this show going to go down or not? I mean, it's such a bad. I mean, the power keeps like kind of going on and off, and it's just crazy. And there's just this terrible storm, and so all of a sudden the lights go out in the club, and there's like, oh, it's just electric in there, because here's the Ramones. I mean, this is one of the, you know, like, this is a legendary, iconic punk band, you know. And the lights go out, and the, you know, smoke machines, the fog machines go off, and it's filling the room up, you know, and you can't really see the stage, and you can kind of see the Ramones lights going off a little bit, their stage lights, you know. it just gets really dark. And then the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme came on, and it was just really cool. And that was the Clint Eastwood, movie, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. They're playing that, and it's just like pitch black. You can't even see the stage, and there's probably maybe, I don't know, 400 people at the very most. I mean, it wasn't a huge club. I mean, it wasn't like a theater or anything like that. It was just a nightclub. And all of a sudden, you can't see anything. You just hear this 1, 2, 3, 4, and bam, and the Ramones, and the lights come on. There they are, and they're within 10 feet of me. And they started playing, and they counted the first song off, and I don't think they stopped playing for over 2 hours. I mean, it just went from song to song. I mean, a lot of the Ramones songs, I mean, the changes aren't, I mean, it's very slight change, it's kind of sounds like. But so what would happen is Marky would keep playing, and they would switch out maybe a guitar, and I think they stopped maybe one time, and that's when they introduced Pet Sematary. And I think even then, maybe Marky kept playing, and it was just an incredible show. And I mean, it was just one of those things that I always remember. And I remember afterwards, I actually kind of walked back in the dressing room, and there's Joey Ramone standing there, and he's all sweaty because, I mean, here it is like summer, and they got on the black leather jackets and the jeans and the long hair, man. I mean, and they never took their jackets off. Like, I mean, even Marky played drums, I think, in like a black leather motorcycle jacket, under these hot stage lights. And I don't think there was any air conditioning in the club, and just really incredible. And I just kind of was standing there, and I just knew at that moment, I was like, I'm in. You know what I mean? Like, it just blew me away. It's one of the greatest shows I've ever seen to this day. And that's what kind of did it for me. And after that, I think I maybe have seen one or two bands like AC/DC, U2 was another good one, but that show always sticks out, and that's really where the light switch went off for me, and that's what really kind of got me into music.